Hello, my name's Karina and I'm an addict. My clean date is July 7th, 2013. I'm here today to talk to you about addiction. I'm not a drug and alcohol counselor. I'm a drug addict for 12 years. I have more life experience in these last 15 years than most people have in their entire lifetime. To start off, I'd like to talk about where addiction starts. Some people say addiction starts at birth and that us addicts are born addicts. Others say it starts at adolescence, and I say addiction starts when you take that first hit. That's when addiction starts, which means that 23 million people suffer from addiction, and only 1 of 10 will get help that they need, which means that 570,000 people lose the battle to addiction every year. There is 4 stages of addiction. The first stage is experimental. This is where you first are trying drugs, trying to decide what your drug of choice is going to be. Some try just one drug and stick with that. Others try a vast group of drugs until they find the one that they enjoy the most. The second stage of addiction would be regular use. And this is where you're not using daily, but you're using enough to where it becomes a regular part of your life. The third stage, it would be risky use. And this stage is where you would find yourself doing things that you would not normally do to get drugs or take. The last stage of addiction, of course, is dependency. This is where you become dependent and powerless over drugs or alcohol. This is where drugs are a daily part of your life and that you have to have them in order to function as a human. Addiction not only takes its toll mentally, but physically as well. Addiction takes its toll mentally because many addicts have borderline mental health issues that go undiagnosed. For me, I grew up in a home where my parents would rather get high in the basement and fight in front of us and instead of making sure that we had clothes on our backs and a hot meal on the table. This means that I suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder. I witnessed violence at a young age in my home. So growing up, for me, taking drugs was to numb the pain, to get rid of all these anxious feelings that I have. And I'm going to read directly from my paper because I can't memorize those parts. So, alcohol and drugs are often used to self-medicate the symptoms of depression or anxiety. Unfortunately, substance abuse can cause side effects and in the long term worsen the very symptoms that initially numbed or relieved. This is true because a lot of addicts, we numb the pain instead of dealing with things head on. Us getting high is what takes away all the pain that we're feeling. Alcohol and drug abuse can increase underlying risks of mental disorders. Mental disorders are caused by complex interplay of genetics, the environment, and other outside factors. If you are at risk for a mental disorder, drugs or alcohol abuse may push you over the edge. Alcohol and drug abuse can make symptoms of mental health problems worse. Substance abuse may sharply increase symptoms of mental illness or trigger new symptoms. Alcohol and drug abuse can interact with medications that you're already taking, such as antidepressants, anti-anxiety pills, and mood stabilizers, making them less effective. Aside from the mental health side of addiction, there's also the physical side of addiction. I became an IV drug user when I was 18 years old. This led me to blown veins, missed shots, and even worse, a heart condition. And before I became an IV user, I was a tinfoil user, which means that now I'm going to be 25 in June, and I have early onset Alzheimer's, which makes simple tasks of just remembering day-to-day things harder for me because I forget really easily. And the last thing that us addicts have to worry about the most on the physical side is overdose. I've had 3 overdoses since I started using. My first overdose wasn't as serious, you can say. An overdose is an overdose. Any overdose is serious. But my first overdose was on cocaine, and I didn't even end up going to the hospital. I'm pretty sure my friend just threw me into a cold shower and made me come down. My second and third overdose are what really led me to wanting to get my life together. I remember my overdose like it was yesterday. I had just taken my shot of heroin, and I felt myself fading backwards, and everything was going black, and the last thing I remember was my dad crying and telling me, "Hold on, the ambulance is on its way." And that's got to be scary for any parent to come in and find your daughter with a needle in her foot and gurgling because she can't breathe. I woke up a couple days later in the hospital, and I was surrounded by family who was begging me to get help. Which leads me to the next part of my speech, reaching out. If you are suffering from addiction, the best thing that you can do is reach out to somebody, reach out to anybody for help. The first place that I reached out was Narcotics Anonymous. Narcotics Anonymous is this awesome program. I'd have to tell you about this amazing program that has helped me for many years. These people that you go to and you talk to in these rooms, they're all addicts. They've been on the same path that you walked on. So they're not there to judge you and tell you, oh, you need to get your life together. They're here to say, yes, you need to get your life together, and we're here to help you. So if you want to get help and get clean, go to a Narcotics Anonymous meeting and tell these people, I need help, I'm ready for change, I need to get my life together. For me, that wasn't as simple. So my family had to do the next best thing that they could for me, which was an intervention. Because they knew I would never get clean on my own. So an intervention is where you gather people who love and care about the addict who you're going to confront, and you tell them all the reasons that you want them to live, and all the reasons that you need them to live and get their life together. For me, that's exactly what I needed, because in my addiction, I felt like I had nothing to live for. And then my family gave me the reasons that I still needed to live. The main thing that you can do in an intervention to help an addict is give them ultimatum. You're basically giving an addict an ultimatum, telling them that they need to leave this life, but they're going to get this new life, and that they're going to be able to live this beautiful life that they've always wanted. And in an intervention, you have to be able to hold your bottom lines as people. That if you don't do this, then this is the consequence to it. And so my family gave me bottom lines, and they still to this day hold them. Because I was clean for over 3 years before I got clean this last time. And I remember when I relapsed, it was my family was right there telling me, no, this is not okay with us. You need to get back on track. And the main thing that you can do when you want to get help is reach out to your family, because family is so important when you're getting clean and when you need to get help. My parents are drug addicts as well. My mother is still an active user. My father has a little bit over almost 11 years sober, which is amazing. And I gotta thank him all the time for getting clean and showing me that it is possible. Without family support, you're not going to really, addicts we already have a short chance of living after getting clean. Relapse is a daily thing in our lives. But if you have family and a support system there that will love you and be there for you when you need to talk to somebody, that's the best thing that you can ever ask for. So if you know anybody who suffers from addiction, don't give up on them. That's not what addicts need. We don't need someone to give up on us and tell us that everything that we're doing is wrong in life. We know that what we're doing isn't right, and that most of the times we just need help. We just need help. We just need someone to hold our hand through this storm that we're creating ourselves and tell us, help us find the rainbow at the end. So if you know anybody who's suffering from addiction, definitely reach out to them and tell them, there's a better way of living. I've been an addict for 12 years. I lived in my car, and I had nowhere to live, and now I'm living in this beautiful 2-story apartment, and I'm going to school, and I never thought I'd be here. I never thought I would live to see these kind of things, because I was digging my own grave every single day with addiction. So there's hope for us out there after all. We may not think that there is, but there is. There's always hope. So I hope that my story has kind of opened your eyes to the world of addiction. And if you know someone suffering, you can go home and tell them, this isn't the end for you. You can still come out a victor in your story. You just got to be willing to rewrite the pages. So, thank you. I enjoyed this week's video because I got to talk about something that's really passionate about. I love sobriety today because I never thought I'd be here. So, thank you.